If you've spent any time online lately, you can't have missed it. Influencers, athletes, even your friends, shivering in a tub of ice water, all claiming it's the secret to unlocking some next-level health. But is this just another social media fad, or is there some real science behind all that shivering?
I mean, it really feels like it just exploded overnight, right? Suddenly, everyone is talking about the incredible benefits of cold water immersion. The claims are pretty wild. And the trend, well, it is absolutely everywhere.
And you've definitely heard the promises, that it's some kind of shortcut to happiness, that it's a fat-burning furnace, a cure-all for our stressed-out minds. These are some seriously big claims being tossed around.
So that's what we're here to do. We're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to look at the actual data, the studies, and the biology to figure out what's hype and what's the hard evidence. Okay, let's dive in.
Okay, first up, let's tackle the big one, the one you hear about all the time, the dopamine hack. The idea that a few minutes in freezing water can just flood your brain with feel-good chemicals, almost like a drug. It sounds amazing, but let's see what's really happening under the hood.
So where did this whole idea even come from? Well, it pretty much all goes back to this one key study from the year 2000, and it did find that a short, really cold plunge could crank up dopamine levels in the blood by up to 5 times. A 5-fold increase. I mean, no wonder everyone latched onto that number, right?
But, and this is a huge but, there's this thing called the blood-brain barrier. You can think of it like the world's strictest bouncer for your brain. It's got a velvet rope, and it decides what gets in and what stays out. It's incredibly selective.
And this is where the hype and the reality just completely split apart. The hype says your brain is getting this massive dopamine hit. But the reality? That 5-fold increase was in peripheral dopamine, the stuff floating around in your body which cannot get past that bouncer. The molecule that actually gets the party started in your brain is norepinephrine. That's a neurotransmitter that dials up your focus, your vigilance, your attention. That's what spikes 2 to 5-fold in the brain, giving you that incredible feeling of alertness.
All right, so if the dopamine thing is a bit of a misunderstanding, what about the other huge claim? The idea that cold plunges can basically turn your body into a fat-burning machine, helping you shed weight without even going to the gym.
And just like before, there is a little kernel of truth that got this whole thing started. Studies do show that when you're exposed to cold, your metabolic rate can shoot up by 300 to 350%. Your body is just working like crazy to generate heat and stay warm, and yeah, that burns a ton of energy.
And the hero of this part of the story? It's this amazing stuff called brown adipose tissue, or just BAT for short. Now, unlike regular white fat that just stores energy, brown fat is jam-packed with these tiny cellular engines called mitochondria. Its whole purpose in life is to burn fuel to create heat. The cold flips a switch, and BAT gets to work.
But here's where we need a little perspective. Yes, your metabolism goes into overdrive, but only while you are actively in the cold. The second you warm up, it goes back to normal. And for the average person, that massive metabolic boost works out to burning about 79 extra calories. You know, that's less than a small apple. It's a real effect for sure, but it is not going to magically melt fat away.
Okay, so if it's not really a dopamine flood and it's not a magic weight loss tool, then what's the big deal? Why is it actually good for you? Well, the real answer is so much cooler, and it comes down to this powerful biological principle that explains why a little bit of stress can be incredibly good for you.
That principle is called hormesis, and you already know the basic idea. It's literally what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but for your cells. The core idea is that you expose your body to a brief, managed stressor like cold or heat or even exercise, and it kicks off this powerful adaptive response that leaves you way more resilient than you were before. It's a pretty simple 3-step process when you break it down. First, that cold water hits you. That's the acute stress. Your body kicks into a mild fight-or-flight mode. Then, second, your cells respond. They don't just panic. They switch on these deep, ancient pathways for defense and repair. And third, you get the beneficial outcome. These pathways actually overcompensate, leaving your whole system stronger and better prepared for whatever stress comes next.
So what does stronger and more resilient actually look like in the real world? This is where we get to the real payoff, the stuff that's backed up by solid science. And honestly, it's pretty impressive.
Just check this out. One study took people with type 2 diabetes, put them on a 10-day cold acclimation protocol, and their insulin sensitivity improved by a mind-blowing 43%. Even in healthy people, it gave them a 20% boost.
This means your body gets way, way better at handling blood sugar, and that's a huge deal for your overall metabolic health.
And it's not just your metabolism. It's like a workout for your nervous system. We can measure this with something called heart rate variability, or HRV. Think of it as a sign of how flexible and resilient your nervous system is. As you can see here, regular cold exposure actually improves these key HRV markers. It basically strengthens the calm down part of your nervous system, the part that helps you rest and recover. It literally teaches your body to be less freaked out by stress.
And the list just keeps going. We're talking deeper sleep, better resilience to all kinds of stress, an improved mood that one study found was on par with meditation, and even a primed immune system that's more ready to fight off viruses. These aren't just feelings. These are real, measurable upgrades to your body's operating system.
All right, so maybe you're thinking, okay, I get the science, the real science, and I'm a little curious. But hold on, you don't just go find a frozen lake and jump in. You've got to do this safely, and it's all about slowly getting your body used to it.
And you really do start small, super small. Like week 1 is just 15 to 30 seconds at the end of your normal shower. That's it. Then each week, you just add a little more time. This slow and steady progression lets your body adapt safely without totally freaking out your system. By the time you get to week 4, you'll be ready to try a short, proper ice bath.
Okay, listen up, because this might be the single most important piece of advice if you're going to try this. The moment that cold water hits, your body's going to scream at you to gasp for air and breathe really fast. Your job, your only job, is to fight that instinct. Focus everything on slow, long, deliberate exhales. That's what tells your nervous system, hey, we're actually okay. We're in control here.
And last, but honestly, most importantly, safety. This is non-negotiable. Cold plunging is a serious stress on the body, and it is absolutely not for everyone. If you have any of these conditions here, especially things like untreated high blood pressure or any history of heart issues, you should not attempt this. Please, talk to your doctor before you start any new intense health practice like this. You have to be smart about it.
So, when you strip away all the hype, the cold plunge isn't some magic pill. It's a tool. It's a way to practice hormesis, a way to use a short-term, intentional stressor to build real, long-term resilience. And that kind of leaves us with a bigger question, doesn't it? If a little intentional stress can be this good for us, what's one small, healthy challenge you could add to your own life to become just a little bit stronger?